Seeing my expression, Eric leaned forward and proudly smiled, gesturing at all the dishes with a dramatic sweep of his arm.
I made almost all of the dishes myself.
Humorously enough, Matthew looked at him with a shocked expression, as if he was betrayed. His face changed instantly to that of a frown.
And I'm the Queen of the Nile.
What's that supposed to mean?
Me, you, and James did the work together, dummy.
It's you, James, and I, Matthew.
Little boys will always make mistakes.
Matthew looked at James in disbelief, probably for siding with Eric, and he annoyedly swiveled back to Eric to confront him.
I'm not a little boy. I'm barely a year younger than you.
Well, you certainly don't act like it.
Matthew seemed very much like a kid. He was adorable. However, I couldn't help but feel like, in a way, he was much more mature than the others, especially Eric. What about Damien?
Huh? Is something funny?
No, it's nothing at all. Thank you for the meal, all of you.
Oh, you're welcome, miss.
Such a well-mannered young lady. Beautiful inside and out.
You've only met me for like less than a couple hours. You can't say that. You don't know me well enough to make that assumption.
Eric, knock it off!
In agreement with Matthew, Sam cocked his head and glared at Eric.
Seriously, you're getting really annoying with that suck-up act.
I wonder if they're all half-brothers. Same dad, different moms. It was obvious that Sam was the bad boy of the group. He had this big, tough act, and it was obvious he was physically stronger than the rest of the guys. But was there more to him than that?
I'm just trying to be a gentleman. The young girl has already gone through so much. She deserves a good treatment.
There's a difference between being a gentleman and being an obnoxious flirt.
Schooled even by James. You're gonna need some cold water for that burn.
By the way, I don't believe we caught your name even though you know each of us.
I'm Yuki.
It's a pleasure to finally know your name.
Yeah, that's a nice name.
They were all comfortable around me, despite the awkward situation we were in. It was as if it were natural to be around humans. I guess that was just how incubi worked. But I was still curious about one thing. Excuse me? All at once they looked at me. I don't know why, but having all of them look at me made me feel kind of important, like a queen or something. A queen of a reverse harem.
What is it, miss?
How do we explain?
We were attacked. We came here to heal. What's so difficult to understand?
Now you're just being rude, Sam.
I'm just saying, how is that difficult to understand?
No, I mean, what specifically happened?
Well, you see, we've been traveling around for quite some time now. Just recently we came into town, but we were jumped by this band of misfits. So, in order to escape and heal, we came here for shelter. Again, we apologize for the mess we made.
It's fine, I guess. You're all better now, right?
Yup, all thanks to you.
Huh? Me?
You see, beautiful, we feed on sexual energy. But we don't just get it from kissing lovely ladies such as yourself. We can simply touch someone's hand to obtain sexual energy. Everyone carries sexual energy, you know.
I was still in shock about their power. It wasn't just kisses that gave me power. They was anything physical. No wonder I was out for a while. What did they do when I was asleep? These incubi intrigued me, but at the same time, I could almost hear a warning siren going off in my head.
Is there anything else you wish to know?
Well, what do you all plan to do now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do now, James?
That is a very good question. We just got here and surely we'll be hunted again if we leave.
We can take him easily.
Not without more training, Sam. The result of that was clearly evident in our last encounter with them.
At that moment, I didn't know what to do. They couldn't possibly survive out there. If they didn't know it was illegal to break into people's homes, they probably didn't know a bunch of other stuff. They probably would have caused chaos all over town. Well, they're incubi, they're supposed to know how to blend in with humans, so I'm pretty sure they would know. You think they're so helpless, but they're really not. Or on the flip side, they could have taken into question and talking like lab frogs for research. That was even worse. Most of all, it reminded me I was standing alone. The entire classroom was filled with laughter and chatter, but I stood in the midst of it, quiet. It was strange seeing the whole world pass in front of me with such vibrant vibrancy. All the while I stood there. On the plus side, I wasn't engaged in any of the drama that might have arose, like scribbling on someone's paper for revenge or kicking someone too hard. It was kind of nice just standing back and watching things pass by and life go on. I had long before convinced myself that I preferred being alone. I often said to myself in encouragement, yeah, I want to be alone. There's no one I like better than me, so I had to spend more time with myself. Was this before or after you met Susan and the ending? But there was a certain bitterness that, coupled with being alone, made me feel so sad. There was a difference between being alone and lonely. I just didn't realize it at the time. And even after that moment, my father, there was no one to turn to. I was so lonely. That's when I decided on it right then. I was going to see my grandfather. I didn't care if my father wouldn't take me. I was going to walk my way over there and see what he had to say about him. Before that, I had never seen him before. What better time to see him then? No one else was going to help me with what I was feeling. I might as well have turned to him. So after school, I decided to walk there. Had no idea how to get there, and I was armed with only a scrap of paper with the address scribbled on it. As a 7-year-old, I obviously had great ideas. And why would a teacher let a 7-year-old just walk up by herself? That doesn't sound right. Horrible school. I soon became lost, and like I always did when I felt lost, I just stood there on the sidewalk, back pressed up against the wall and eyes looking at the strangers passing by. And like always, people continued to pass by and life continued to go on. I was sadder than ever. I had ended up in the situation I was originally in. Nothing had changed. I thought that it was silly for you to think that I could change things in my own hands. That was until a voice brought me back into reality.
Hun, is that you?
I looked up and saw an unfamiliar face, but it was obvious that whoever was talking to me knew who I was. And from that very moment, things began to change. Life began moving its wrist joints, and I realized that things were moving along. Suddenly, I had become a part of the crowd that moved like a blur past me. I was no longer someone who stood still and watched others hurry past me. Life had changed. I had changed. For a 7-year-old, she's pretty introspective. Because the very person who found me that day was my grandfather. I had the opportunity to help them, though would I? I wanted to, but I wasn't sure if that was the best idea. After all, 5 demons in my house wasn't exactly the living arrangement that I had imagined when I first moved in. There was a matter of making sure no one found out about their powers. Thinking about them as lab rats made my stomach queasy. And even if they passed off as humans, how would I explain having guys living in my house? Imagine if my friends came over. They would practically think I was part of a harem or something. Oh God, imagine my parents came over. I think my mom would faint. Who knows what my dad would do? I think he would have them arrested on the spot. This was hard. Maybe I should have written out a pros and cons list before actually having to make the decision.
Don't worry too much about it. You have plenty of time to decide. Besides, you should do what makes you happy as well.
It was strange that I happened to remember what my grandfather said to me when I was little, but it did kind of make sense. His ghost. They weren't in the same exact situation that I was in before, but I did want to help them out. I think it would ease my conscience and also make me a bit happy to give them help, as weird as that sounded. Clenching my hands into fists, I strengthened my resolve to speak up. Well, you could...
What was that, lovely lady?
That is,
Spit it out already.
you could stay with me here if you'd like. As soon as I finished my sentence, the room became still. I'm not sure what went through their heads from my words. The silence in the air cut like a knife until I finally spoke up once more. It seemed like you all needed a place to stay, and, well, I just moved into this giant house, so it seemed like it made sense. It was still quiet in the room. I decided to keep talking. If you would like to stay here, though, there are two things that I need all of you to follow.
Yes?
First of all, you can't use your powers or deliberately do something that might harm me or any guest that comes over. Well, save for enemies, but you get my drift.
That sounds reasonable.
Second, you have to help me with any errands around the house. This place is kind of big, so yeah.
That is a generous offer, miss. Are you sure that would be okay? We don't wish to burden you any more than we already have.
It's alright, really. I mean, I just started living here by myself, so I would appreciate some help around the house.
A wonderful idea. We'll live here and train while helping you with the house. Servants for the lovely princess.
What? Are you serious? Shh, be quiet, Sam. I haven't slept in a bed for days.
They all seemed to like the idea, except for Sam, and hey, I didn't really hate the idea either, even if they were incubi. It would be interesting having 5 guys help me with taking care of the house, given they would follow the rules that I had just laid down.
Grr, fine, but we're not staying here forever. Only until we can beat up that group of punks.
I think that is a reasonable time limit for our stay.
Yes, this is awesome.
Also beautiful. If you need a bedfellow.
Eric, knock it off.
I was happy that they agreed. Maybe it was because I wasn't going to be lonely for a while. Maybe it was because they all needed help and my want to help people was fulfilled. I would never be sure.
So what are we waiting for? Let's celebrate and dig in.
Finally, I'm starving.
Instantly, Matthew and Sam began to stuff themselves with the food on the table. I noticed James' eye twitching in irritation, so I stifled my incoming laugh.
Really, you two? You're both acting like pigs.
Oh, let them have a little freedom, James. It's not like we've eaten recently either. I'm sure they've been starving.
Still, that's no excuse for stuffing their faces like backyard swine.
I almost couldn't hold it in. Huh. 3 choices. Which to choose? Which to choose? I'll go with the first one. I looked back at Damien, who had been silent the whole time. He was leaning against the far wall, moving his lips almost silently in the empty space beside him. Out of curiosity, I looked the same way, though I found nothing there.
It's nothing.
Huh? Huh? I looked back to see Damien looking at me with his normal blank face. I couldn't help but stare back, feeling the red tint of embarrassment spreading across my face. As I stared, Damien gave me a very small smile and closed his eyes, returning my thoughts. Eventually, we all ate dinner together.